Good morning, everybody. It's the 24th of October, 2016. Yep, it's time for another edition of Weber This Week. Well, it's only been a few times since I've been doing this show for about 5 years with Jimmy here at FingerLakes1.com, but our guest is not here. We don't know what happened. Embarrassing? Yeah. And what's really scary is I confirmed it with Nate Michaels 3 times this week, so there's got to be a little mix-up somewhere along the line. I'm not sure. I welcome you on a Monday morning, and we were expecting to have Nate Michaels from Clyde, New York, who's a guitar player and an excellent singer as well. He was to perform a couple of songs, and I'm out in the parking lot waiting for him, and we haven't seen him yet, so we don't know what happened. We hope nothing serious has happened to Nate or his family, but we certainly welcome you to the show, and hopefully Nate will arrive, and if he does, we'll get him hooked up and have him play a couple of songs. So those things happen in this world of broadcasting, I guess. Have only happened to me, I think, twice or maybe 3 times in 5 years, which isn't all that bad. But we want to thank you for joining us, and a lot to talk about. And how about this election? I can't wait. 2 weeks from tomorrow, we finally get it over with. And looking forward to that, and looking forward to a lot to talk about this morning. We're going to get into the world of sports. Again, if you just tuned in, I apologize. Nate Michaels, for some reason, is not here. We hope there's no problems with him and his family or anything serious. And, of course, we expect him, hopefully, to show up, and he just didn't, so we don't know what the story is. And we do apologize for promoting it and not have our guest here in the studio. Well, Jimmy and myself, we can certainly kill 25 minutes. As you know, we have the gift of gab. Yep. Well, there's the phone ringing. Let me see what that call is. Okay, hold on just a second. Hello? Hey, Nate. Yeah. Okay, buddy.
I forgot.
Okay. Well, we just got on the air and we were saying you're not here, so we were concerned about you.
Okay, Nate, let us do the show now.
All right. Okay. Well, listen. I hope your child is doing well, and I will get in touch with you after the show. We have another date. We could probably slip you in here, and
I don't know about that.
I'll get back to you. All right, buddy. Thanks. Okay, we have a child sick, and that's the reason he's not here. So
he said he forgot too, right?
Yeah,
he forgot. Yeah, I don't think we need to reschedule.
Okay.
Nate.
So, anyways, that's a story, and we do it live here at FingerLakes1.com. Well, let's talk about some world of sports, and again, we apologize for this miss, but we understand it's a child in sickness. Jimmy, let's talk first off. Let's talk about SU basketball. I was looking at Madness the other night where the team came out. It looks like Jimmy Boeheim has got some powerhouse of a squad this year. I saw some of the national ESPN writers saying that Syracuse could be the best team in America from 1 to 12. What's your thought process? It looks like they're loaded to bear. Boeheim himself in one of the news conferences said that he might play 9 or 10 kids. That's how loaded they are.
Yeah, Boeheim gives pretty good indications about how he feels about teams coming in. A lot of times he thinks they're overrated, and he'll tell you that. I think he thinks this team's underrated. They are stacked with talent and transfers. They've adjusted to the new world of college basketball, really taking advantage of that grad transfer rule. It's almost like free agency in college basketball now, where a 4-year graduate with a year of eligibility left can transfer and not sit out. So it opens up the market. That really helps Syracuse, because if you got 1 year to go play anywhere, why not Syracuse in the Carrier Dome?
Oh, yeah.
So we've got Andrew White and John Guillen, 2 guards. And people don't realize how good this Andrew White is. He was the Big 12 Rookie of the Year when he was at Kansas. And then he transferred to Nebraska, where he was second in the Big Ten in scoring last year with 17 points a game, also pulling down 7-8 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists. And he's a great shooter. Boeheim said that himself. So we lost Malachi Richardson, but I think Andrew White's going to kind of fill that role along with a freshman named Tyus Battle. Frank Howard, remember Frank Howard,
sure.
Point guard. He was really coming into his own a little bit last year. I think between him and Guillen, the Colorado State transfer, they'll have the point guard locked down. We've got Pasquale Chikwu, who's a 7'3" center who transferred from Providence last year and sat out but practiced with the team. DeJuan Coleman's a senior. Tyler Lydon might be one of the best players in the country, period. Probably only going to be here one more year before he enters the draft. Roberson is back.
You got a lot of players.
Yeah, it's really going to be a fun year. And coming off a Final Four run when we weren't expected to do much, we look to be pretty stacked. And it all starts in a couple weeks. Upstate Orange podcast coming back with myself and Brad Connor talking about Syracuse hoops on November 6th. Sunday, November 6th will be our first episode. And then really that kicks off the weekend, the winter of Syracuse basketball, high school basketball here on Finger Lakes 1.
Again, if you just joined us listening or waiting to hear Nate Michaels perform, again, you may just tuned us in. I apologize. Nate just called in. We took it over the air. His son got sick, or his child got sick this morning, and forgot about it. So, unfortunately, these things happen in the world of broadcasting, and we do apologize. And we feel sorry for Nate, and we hope that his son or his child is doing okay this morning. By the way, let's continue on SU Sports. This is Weber This Week on a Monday morning, the 24th of October. And let's talk about SU football. Big win against Virginia Tech, blowing out the Hokies a week or so ago, going on the road against Boston College. Still surprised that BC was the favorite. I never was impressed with BC. I don't think they're one of the great powerhouses of the ACC. Syracuse did not manhandle them. They won by 8, 28-20. Again, SU showing resiliency under Coach Dino Babers, first year as head coach. That puts them at 4 wins. Jimmy can look at it the way I look at it. There's 4 games left. They're off this weekend. They have a bye. Then they go on the road and play Clemson. So let's assume that Clemson will win. They're undefeated. They haven't looked great, though, Clemson. They've been sneaking past some teams. They aren't running up 50 points like they normally did the last few years. They're winning games 24-22, 28-26. They're letting the opponents play tight with them. I look for Clemson to win this game. I don't know if Jimmy agrees with me or not. I think they're going to be a tough road to win. SU, they need 2 more wins to get bowl eligible. So let's assume they lose at Clemson. Then they got back-to-back home games at the Dome. They bring in North Carolina State, an up-and-down team. And, Jimmy, I think that's a W they need to get, obviously, at home against Carolina State.
Yeah, North Carolina State, and then Florida State, who's ranked 13th,
right.
And we got them at home. I'm not going to say that we can't beat them.
Sure.
And then we finish in the road with Pitt. So we need 2 of those 4 games. Obviously, if they could upset Clemson, that would be great.
Yeah.
But on the road, that might be a tough task. But, you
never know.
We've hung with Clemson and Florida State over the past few years, only to, end up losing. It wasn't close at the end. But the Dino Babers team, again, that Boston College game was tough too because of the weather.
Sure.
We'd like to play fast. I think that we'll be able to score on Clemson in Clemson. I think we'll be able to score on Florida State, but I don't know if we'll be able to stop Clemson.
And Florida State is certainly beatable. I think they're not one of the powerhouses that we think about. They got some good material, they got good athletes, but the question is whether or not they can come to the Dome under a crowd that's going to be roaring. But again, Syracuse has got a shot. A few weeks ago, you didn't think they had a shot at all of being bowl eligible. Now there's 4 left. They got to win 2 of those 4 to become bowl eligible. As you know, teams need 6 wins to become bowl eligible.
We beat Virginia Tech and Boston College, though, in the same year, so no matter what happens, it was a good year.
That's right.
Hate those 2 schools.
And I got to tell you something, folks. I don't know about you, but I've been following sports since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, 7 or 8 years old, and I went through the agony as I got older, thinking about the Chicago Cubs. I heard a lot about the Cubbies. I kind of got an affection for them. I said, wow, a team that has been cursed. Remember that kid who interfered with the pop foul? Yep, pop foul down the third base line. Was it catchable? Absolutely. Would have changed dramatically the outcome? Probably. Now the Cubs and the Indians are in the World Series, and, of course, 2 cold areas. I looked at the forecast for Cleveland, Ohio, and for Chicago the next several days because the series starts tomorrow night, Tuesday night, in Cleveland. It's not going to be all that bad. It's going to be like low to mid-50s, lows of 40s. It'll be okay, I guess, for this time of year when you get cold climate cities. But I don't know about you, but I am really psyched. And what's really weird is I'd love to see the Cubs do it because I think they deserve it. The last time they were in the World Series was when I was born, 1945. 1945, 71 years ago. And, Jimmy, the Indians haven't been making a regular stop in that great classic either. So it's going to be a
The
great
Indians
series.
were in it, it's at least in this millennium.
Yep.
But it's been, 67 years
Yep.
since the Indians won it, 107 since the Cubs won
Right.
it.
Amazing.
So, I mean,
Great series.
The one thing about baseball that no other sport can match is the extensive history. And the Cubs have laced it up
Yep.
and played that schedule 107 times and no wins, no World Series wins. So one of the two is going to win. And
great series.
I almost want to watch just as much to see how the Cubs might lose, or the Indians, because really, most Indians fans were never alive when they won the World Series last. Certainly, no Cubs fans are licensed when they last won the World Series. So it's more not only of just to watch this baseball series and see, how the good stuff that happens, but I have a feeling something terrible might happen, to the Cubs.
Oh, I hope they pull it out. It'd be so great for baseball. I know. Let's take a look at Cleveland. I mean, there's always terms about their sports franchises as the mistake on the lake. Look at the Browns. They can't win a game. They're sad sacks. They're still winless in the NFL. I don't know what's ever going to change that prognosis. But, the Yankee fans checking me out this morning have got to be happy. Several months ago, or a few months ago, they had a couple of relief pitchers named Andrew Miller and Chapman. And Andrew Miller would come in and pitch the 8th inning, and Chapman would come in and clean up in the 9th, and they were probably mostly unbeatable. Guess what? Andrew Miller, their excellent relief pitcher for the Cleveland Indians, and Mr. Chapman, the excellent relief pitcher for the Cubbies. So the Yankees certainly playing a major role as far as relief pitchers. But I got to give the Cubs a lot of credit coming home to try to wrap it up. They did 5-0, beating Kershaw, getting up early in the game, first inning, a couple of runs, and I got to give them a lot of credit. I would love to see the Cubbies win it, and I'm nothing against the Cleveland Indians. They have played. Francona's done a masterful job of that team. He gets very little respect, but he's there.
Two great managers.
Exactly. And Joe Madden, what can you say? They paid him a king's ransom to come to Chicago. Theo Epstein, worth every dime of it. And it's going to be great. And I'm not one to stay up late to watch baseball, but I may make an exception starting tomorrow night. So I'm kind of hoping and praying that the Cubs win it, because I think it'd be great for baseball. It really would end the curse of all curses. We'll have to see what happens. And it's the best, obviously, best 4 out of 7. This is Weber This Week. Let's talk about something pretty remarkable yesterday. The Bills got beat, which is not remarkable in the fact they won 4 in a row. They were probably expected maybe to win in Miami. Miami's been an up-and-down team. I've never been a big fan of Tannehill, their quarterback. He looks a little shaky in the pocket. And I thought for sure, I know McCoy had a hamstring issue, and it certainly proved to be the fact. He only played a little bit, then he took him out in the third quarter. But you look at Miami. They got a kid who I never even knew was a player, Ajayi, I think it's pronounced.
Running back.
Yeah, Ajayi, I think it's pronounced, and I may be screwing that up. He was in the 5th round a few years ago in the draft, 149th selection out of Boise State. Now, what did he do that's remarkable to make this show and all other media types? Let me tell you something. This kid ran for 200 yards plus against the Bills yesterday, and he did that a week ago. Why is that significant? He's only the 5th running back in the history of the NFL to run 200-plus yards back-to-back. Back-to-back. This kid is set amazingly, and the kid is just so elusive. He holds onto the ball. I mean, not that he hasn't fumbled, I'm sure, in his career, but man, oh man, they got gaping holes. And, hey, by the way, speaking of the Bills, give credit to some of the defensive players. Mario Williams. Remember Mario? He was supposed to be the next thing that brought, Christmas to the Bills organization. They paid him a king's ransom to join the Bills organization. They got tired of him and tired of his contract. They got rid of him. Went to Miami. He doesn't play that much for Miami. But boy, oh boy, if you watch that game yesterday, he was unbelievable, Jim. Mario Williams really was the difference, in my opinion, in the second half. He made some outstanding defensive plays.
Yeah, I think, when you get cast off by an organization, you get a chance to play, you rise up. But you know what? He should have played that way every game against every team, and he could be helping the Bills right now. But the Bills still have an inside track at the playoffs.
Oh, sure.
And that's really the main goal is to make the playoffs, because
16 years.
This will be 16 if they don't.
16 now.
16 years now. since the Bills made the playoffs.
So it'll be interesting, and I think...
and then Sammy Watkins is out. They don't have their best receiver.
McCoy
might be hurt now too, but that's life as usual in the NFL. I was disappointed that the Bills' defense couldn't hold them at the end because they really should have been another win. It should have been their, 6th straight win?
But I got to tell you, the Dolphins showed no discipline at the end of that game, taking cheap personal fouls and knocking people out of bounds, starting fights. And I like their coach. Can't think of the name of the guy, but they had that game in hand, and they made it look. Onside kick. Bills recover. You never know. I mean, just stupid. Continuing to let the Bills go down the field because of their stupidity and their ridiculous personal fouls. There was no need for that. You're up by, 11, 12 points. Run the clock out. Just play defense and don't do anything stupid. They did 3 things stupid in that last Bills drive, which made the game somewhat interesting because you never know with an onside kick. Weirder things have happened. How about last night's Seattle-Arizona game? I didn't stay up to watch it. I did tape it.
I did. Oh, my God.
Unbelievable 28 and 24-yard field goals missed by these kickers. And I know that Pete Carroll said afterwards that his kicker, and I can't think of his name, is still the guy, and they love him. Well, they love him. He missed a 24-yarder. I mean, that's like Jim Sinicropi missing a 1-foot putt in the game of golf. You got to make 24-yarders, and the kid from Arizona missed a 28-yarder to win it. So, I don't know. And, by the way, Coach Arians of the Arizona Cardinals did not show much love to the kicker, said this is not high school. You get paid to make it.
The kickers have more pressure on them than anybody else on the field because the other players are, putting in the sweat and battling, the whole physical side of the game, taking hit after hit. Yeah. Working so hard to get that win, and when the kicker can go out there and give it to him or give it away with just one kick, that's a lot of pressure.
While time is flying here, again, if you tuned in to check out Nate Michaels from Clyde, New York, who we had brought in as a guest, he did not show up this morning. He called in. We took the call on the air. His child is sick this morning, so he therefore forgot, and he couldn't make the trip, so we apologize for that. Let's take our commercial break here from the great sponsors that make this show possible. We'll come back with some closing comments after this. Cayuga Lake National Bank. Visit Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs. Offices in Union Springs and Aurora, a fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor on Bridge Street in Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her team will find the right spirit for you every time. When you stop in, tell Amy the dog sent you. Steve Wadhams and Wadhams Enterprises, your local employer of choice. Proud supporter of Weber This Week and local athletics. Fill out an application at wadhams.com. The Gould Hotel welcomes you to come out and enjoy the revitalization of this historic downtown Seneca Falls landmark. Every Wednesday is Ladies' Night with special price drinks and half-priced appetizers. Learn more at thegouldhotel.com. The Omen Theater on William Street in Lyons. See what's playing this week at omentheater.com. Located off New York State Thruway Exit 41, the McGee Diner has earned their reputation as a popular family restaurant, serving country, fresh, home-cooked meals daily. Stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and check out their menu at McGeeDiner.com. Del Lago Resort and Casino will feature a luxurious 205-room hotel, several restaurants ranging from casual to fine dining, and a 2,500-capacity entertainment venue called The Vine. The casino will have 2,000 slot machines, 75 table games, and 10 poker tables. Visit www.dellagoresort.com. Seneca Metals is an award-winning company that has earned a reputation of going above and beyond to protect the environment and support their community. As an EPA inspector once said, their operation is head and shoulders above the rest. The Seneca Falls Country Club, awesome 18-hole layout, open to the public, and a 12-month payment plan for members. Check out SenecaFallsCountryClub.com. And the Newark Pilots of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, a minor league team with a major league ballpark. Season ticket packages available at NorkPilots.com. And the Wilson Press in Seneca Falls. My good pal Rich Rickey and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Visit them online at wpress.com. Rich Rickey and Wilson Press, a fine sponsor of Weber This Week. Welcome back to the Dog Show on a good old Monday. Hey, before we go to Jimmy and talk about some big special programming here on Finger Lakes One, let me run down rest of the year has been booked out. I want to quickly run down our upcoming guests. Next week, I won't be here. I will be out of town. Jim will be either doing a show or coming up with something to talk about next, which it won't be hard on Halloween. I won't be here, but the 7th I will. I wasn't going to be here the 7th, but I will be here. And what I'm going to do is give you my picks and my endorsements of the political candidates as well, because I want to have part of this too. And these, certainly, before you get excited, they're not Jim Sinicropi or Finger Lakes One's views, but they're going to be my picks on the election on November 7th, the day before.
You're going to write in Brad Jones for everything, right?
No. But we're going to do that. I'll give you my picks of who I'm endorsing. And since it's my show, I can have a choice of doing that. Again, it's not Finger Lakes One agreeing with any of my picks, like I never do anyways. By the way, I'll be here on the 7th. We'll talk election. That's going to be the key point. I'll give you my picks and who I'm voting for and endorsing. And then on the 14th, we are expecting to get the latest executive brought in by Del Lago. I did not meet him. I talked to him. His name is Frank Naborski. He's vice president of slots, 2,000 slot machines, soon to be brought in there in the next week or two. He'll be here on the 14th. He will be here with one caveat. The machines may arrive that morning. So if the machines arrive on the 14th, Frank made it clear to me that he can't come in. I understand that. Can you imagine setting up 2,000 slot machines? So that's the caveat. But Frank Naborski from Del Lago, the latest hired VP of slots, is expected to come in and talk about that feature, which is a huge feature of a casino, the slot machines. So we got our fingers crossed that the machines may come in the next day. We'll keep you posted. And by the way, on the 21st, we bring back a good friend, the District Attorney of Seneca County. A lot of cases up at Seneca County. A lot to talk about with my friend Barry Porsche, the District Attorney of Seneca County, will be my guest on the 21st before Thanksgiving. On the 28th, my friend Gary Schlegel, the owner of the McGee Diner, he'll be in talking about his role, whether he'll sell his diner. A lot of controversy on Facebook about, it's up for sale. He denies it. We'll have Gary Schlegel, the owner of McGee Diner, in talking about his role with Del Lago and will he sell or won't he? That'll be on the 28th, Gary Schlegel. Then on 12/5, a thing that myself and Jimmy do every year, Jeff Rook will be in. We always book a date for Jeff in December. He'll be in talking about It's a Wonderful Life Run, which is a fantastic event.
It's hard to believe that we're getting to that time of year where,
Jeff Rook.
And it's funny you mentioned these guests.
Yep.
In between all that time that's going on, we'll kick off our high school basketball coverage on November 26th, I think, this year with the 4 games at the chiropractic college, and then it's it's full bore through Christmas and winter, and before you know it, it'll be spring again.
And in sometime around the 3rd week of November, myself and Jim, he'll take his videography equipment like he did before. We'll go out and shoot. He'll shoot the updates of the casino, which will be huge. That'll be sometime 3rd week of the month of November. We'll set a date. Jimmy's schedule's more tied up than mine. I'm more free most of the time since I'm retired. He's not. Based on his schedule, we'll go out there and shoot a whole bunch of video for you. And then we'll bring in Jeff Babinski back into the studio. We have him in a lot. We're going to have him a lot more. He is the Vice President, Executive General Manager of Del Lago. He's hiring executives every other day, it seems like. Jeff will be in to shoot or to talk about what it looks like when Jim is shot, and that should be very interesting as well.
And it's going to be really close to the opening.
Exactly.
February 1st.
February 1st. So it's hard to believe, folks. We're talking November, December. Only talking 3 months out. Pretty weird. And then Madison Hillmeyer. Remember Maddie? She came in to do my show a few times from Miners Academy, an outstanding athlete. And she, of course, is in college. She's coming home. We're going to have her booked. We have her booked for the 19th of December, getting caught up with Madison Hillmeyer. Little Maddie will be on the air. And
playing
she, of course,
softball at Hartford University.
University. Yeah. So she will be in on the 19th, and of course the 26th, we won't have a show. That's the day after Christmas. So we're going to take some time off and enjoy the holiday and our good old families. By the way, Jimmy, speaking of special programming here on FingerLakes1.com, you try to keep current, and nothing more volatile, nothing more exciting than the upcoming elections, not only from the presidential side, but locally the town board has 2 open seats, and my man Josh Dursel, etc., will be on the air tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, for the debate, which will be fantastic.
Yeah, we have a couple of really good opportunities for voters to check out the candidates in a couple of races. Now, one, the Seneca Falls debate on Tuesday nights, obviously local to people in Seneca Falls, but it has an impact on people around the region because the debate over Seneca Meadows landfill is at the heart of this one. You're going to have 2 Democrat candidates and 2 Republican candidates up here, and Josh will ask them questions for an hour. We'll see how that goes up here in studio. Live debate, 8 o'clock. Tune in, FingerLakes1.tv. And then coming up on the following Thursday, which would be November, I should know that date off the top of my head. Hold on, I want to get the date right. It would be Thursday, November 3rd. We have the 354th District New York State Senate candidates coming up here for an exclusive debate just 5 days before the election. And that, of course, is something that's important to everybody in the region. Again, both debates will be an hour long, and we're accepting questions or suggested questions for the candidates that Josh will review and might include, in the line of questioning for these candidates to respond to. So you can email josh@fingerlakes1.com with your questions. I think he's also asking on Facebook, if you want to post your questions there. So it's really exciting. And then, of course, on election night, we're going to be live in here for Election Night Live 2016, which is going to be awesome. We're going to be giving you the results as they come in. It's a presidential year, so we'll keep an eye on the Trump, Hillary Clinton campaign. And not a ton of races locally, but a handful of very important ones, including, first and foremost, the 54th New York State Senate District.
Yeah, that's
race,
huge.
So.
What's your gut feeling on the presidential one right now? I know New York's going to go to Hillary. What's your gut feeling?
I mean, yeah, Hillary will win. It's just more of how Trump's going to react when he loses. Right? And some people might not want to hear it, but, I mean, it's pretty clear that Hillary's going to win this thing.
It certainly looks like the polling. ABC came out with one yesterday morning, has her up 50 to 38% on a national means.
It's a huge lead.
12. Yeah. I mean, even if it's off by 3 or 4, that's still big. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be interesting. And I got to tell you something, folks. If you haven't done this, if you've got Time Warner, you got the ability at home to tape shows, go in and tape Saturday Night Live, please.
And we actually have on the front page of our site this morning, in case you missed it, we put videos of about the top 5 or 6 skits on there.
It is hilarious.
It is.
I taped it. I mean, we got a bunch of TVs in our apartment. I think we have 4 or 5 TVs, and there's only me and Mary. But you got to tape Saturday Night Live. Do yourself a favor, even if you don't care about the presidential race. Alec Baldwin and Kate McKinnon, I'm telling you, you're going to fall off the chair in laughter, in tears. They do some phenomenal skits. I mean, that's why Saturday Night Live is Saturday Night Live, but you got to go tape it. If you want to stay up to 11:30, I'm not an 11:30 guy that stays up. Jimmy does, but I'm not. I don't watch anything live with commercials. So again, tape it. You're going to love it. And there's also a show that I recommend you also tape. It's on TBS. I think she's only on once a week. Samantha Bee, who used to work on the Comedy Channel, she used to be one of Jon Stewart colleagues. Funny, outrageous. She's double the Amy Schumer. The language is not great, but I'm telling you, folks, it's called Full Frontal with Samantha Bee. It's on TBS. On the Time Warner channels, it's 65 to give you that number. Go in and find her. I think she comes again maybe the end of this week. Samantha Bee. It's called Full Frontal. Tape that as well.
Good show.
You will cry. I mean, I had never seen it before, Jim. I had heard about it. I loved her when she was with Jon Stewart in Comedy Central. But I watched it, and I laughed for the whole show. She is brutal, just absolutely brutal, and brutal against Mr. Trump. So, again, we hope that you all have a great week. The rains pounded us last week. Some still golfing season left, Jimmy, and I know that...
Hope so, but this course is pretty wet.
Oh, I bet.
Not drying out anytime soon.
I bet it isn't, but it's been a good year. So, ladies and gentlemen, we certainly hope that you all have a great Monday and hopefully a great week. And again, I won't be here next week. Jim will come up with something, I'm sure. I'll be back on the 7th with my endorsements of the various candidates running, including the presidential race. I'll have a lot to say about that, and we'll have a lot of fun on the 7th of November. So take care, everybody. Enjoy your week. That's the dog with you for another edition of Weber This Week.